The spotlight burned like a fever dream, pinning Brooks Harlan to the stage amid the roar of 10,000 voices in the belly of Seattle's Paramount Theater. His fingers danced over the guitar strings, coaxing out melodies that had once torn his soul wide open. But tonight they felt like echoes in an empty hall, mechanical and cold. As the final chord hung in the air, he forced a smile for the crowd, their cheers crashing like waves against a pier he no longer cared to stand on. Backstage, the haze of cigarette smoke and whispered congratulations wrapped around him like a shroud. His manager, Trent, clapped him on the shoulder, eyes gleaming with dollar signs. "Brooks, that was gold. Album drops next week, and we're talking stadiums." Brooks nodded, the words sliding off him like rain on waxed leather. He had everything. The sold-out tours, the platinum records, the face on every indie playlist from Portland to Philly. But inside, he was a ghost, adrift in a body that had forgotten how to feel. Started 2 years ago, in a Nashville hotel room that smelled of stale bourbon and regret. Trent, who had been more than a manager back then, more like a lover in the shadows of late-night sessions, had chosen ambition over them. "It's business, Brooks," he'd said, even as he slipped away with a younger songwriter, leaving Brooks with a shattered heart and a career built on its shards. The betrayal hollowed him out, turned passion into performance, joy into a script he recited flawlessly. Therapy sessions in LA, pills from a discreet Beverly Hills doc. Nothing touched the numbness. Music, his lifeline, became just noise. Seattle suited his unraveling. The city's perpetual drizzle mirrored the gray in his veins, its fog-shrouded hills a perfect hideout from the relentless churn of fame. He rented a loft in Capitol Hill, all exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking rain-slick streets lined with coffee shops and dive bars. Mornings, head wake to the patter against glass, brew black coffee strong enough to wake the dead, and stare at his guitar like it was a stranger. Writing? Impossible. The notes came, but they were flat, devoid of the fire that had launched him from a Montana ranch kid's garage band to this. That night, after the show, he slipped out the back alley, hood up against the downpour, craving the anonymity of a walk. The air was thick with the scent of wet pavement and distant evergreens, the kind of Pacific Northwest chill that seeped into your bones. He lit a cigarette, the flame flickering like a weak pulse, and wandered toward Pike Place Market, where the late-night vendors hawked fish and flowers under sodium lamps. That's when the sirens started. Low at first, then wailing, cutting through the rain like a knife. Brooks froze, heart thudding in a way it hadn't in months. Not from fear, but from the raw urgency of it all. Smoke billowed from a nearby warehouse, an old brick building repurposed as artist lofts, flames licking the edges of shattered windows. People spilled out onto the street, coughing, clutching sketch pads and half-finished canvases. Fire trucks screeched to a halt, red lights painting the scene in bloody hues. He should have kept walking. Fame had taught him detachment, a polite nod to chaos from afar. But something pulled him closer, the heat warring with the cold rain on his face. Firefighters in turnout gear swarmed the building, axes glinting, hoses uncoiling like serpents. One figure stood out, barking orders with a voice that carried over the din, calm and commanding. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a helmet casting shadows over a jaw set like granite. Elias Kane, though Brooks wouldn't learn his name until later. Elias moved like the fire itself, fluid and unyielding, directing his crew up the rickety fire escape. Ladder on the east side. Vent the roof now. His gloved hands gripped a hose, muscles straining under the weight of it all. Brooks watched, transfixed, as Elias charged into the smoke, emerging moments later with a young woman draped over his shoulder, her face streaked with soot. He laid her gently on the stretcher, then turned back, eyes scanning the crowd. Their gazes locked. Elias's eyes were hazel, flecked with gold even in the chaos, sharp and assessing. For a split second, the world narrowed. The rain, the flames, the sirens fading to a hum. Brooks felt a flicker, faint as a struck match, somewhere deep in his chest. Not recognition, not lust exactly, but a pull, like gravity reasserting itself after years in freefall. "You okay?" Elias called out, striding over, helmet under one arm, sweat carving paths through the grime on his face. Up close, he was younger than Brooks expected, maybe 30, with close-cropped black hair and a faint scar tracing his left eyebrow, a souvenir from some old blaze. Brooks nodded, words caught in his throat. "Yeah, just passing by." Elias's lips quirked, not quite a smile. "Tourists always say that. Stick around if you want the show, but get back from the heat." He clapped Brooks on the arm, the touch brief but solid, grounding. Then he was gone, vanishing into the fray again. By dawn, the fire was out, the warehouse a smoldering skeleton. Brooks hadn't moved, rooted to the spot under an awning, nursing a thermos of coffee gone cold. Reporters swarmed, lights flashing, but he pulled his hood lower, just another face in the wet crowd. Elias emerged last, peeling off his gear, revealing a faded gray t-shirt clinging to his torso, damp with effort. He spotted Brooks again, paused, then walked over. "Still here? You got a death wish or something?" Brooks shrugged, the corner of his mouth lifting for the first time in weeks. "Curious. Haven't seen real fire up close since I was a kid burning trash on the farm." Elias chuckled, low and warm, wiping his face with a sleeve. "Farm boy, huh? Im Elias. Engine 25. You live around here?" Brooks. "Yeah, up the hill." He hesitated, then added, "That was impressive. You don't flinch. Comes with the job. Or the job comes with you." Elias's eyes held his, searching. "You look like you could use a real coffee. Not that sludge. There's a spot open early on First Avenue. My treat, if you're not running off to some rock star afterparty." Brooks blinked. How did he know? The voice, maybe, or the way he carried himself like someone who'd been on too many stages. But there was no judgment, just that easy grin. "How'd you?" "Seattle. Word travels. Saw your show poster on the way in." Elias jerked his thumb toward a singed flyer half stuck to a lamppost, Brooks' face staring out from it, midstrum. Heat crept up Brooks' neck, not from the embers but from being seen, truly seen, without the filter of fame. "All right, coffee sounds good." They walked in companionable silence, rain tapping their shoulders like Morse code. The diner was a greasy spoon relic, formica counters and vinyl booths scarred by decades of hash browns and heartbreak confessions. Elias ordered black for both, extra strong, and slid into the booth across from Brooks. "So, famous musician. What's a guy like you doing wandering alleys at midnight?" "Escaping," Brooks said simply, stirring sugar he didn't need. "The crowds get loud. Inside, it's quiet. Too quiet." Elias leaned back, studying him. "I get that. Fires are loud too, but after? Silence hits different. Makes you question if you're still breathing." Brooks met his gaze, that flicker igniting again, warmer this time. They talked then, halting at first about nothing and everything. Seattle's best hidden trails, the way smoke lingers in your clothes like a bad memory, how Montana's big skies compared to the Olympics looming over the sound. Elias was from Tacoma originally, son of a mill worker, joined the department after September 11th reruns on TV made him crave purpose. No wife, no kids, just the brotherhood of the house and a dog named Scout back at his queen and rental. Brooks shared scraps of his life, careful not to spill the numbness, but Elias listened like it mattered, his hazel eyes steady, pulling truths Brooks had buried. By the time the sun cracked the clouds, spilling gold over the bay, Brooks felt lighter, the weight in his chest shifting, not gone but movable. "Shift starts soon," Elias said, standing, tossing bills on the table. "But hey, if you need another escape, there's a station barbecue next weekend. Low-key. No spotlights." Brooks stood too, closer than necessary, the air between them charged like the calm before a storm. "I might just show." As Elias walked away, gear bags slung over his shoulder, Brooks touched his lips, tasting coffee and possibility. For the first time in years, the silence inside wasn't suffocating. It hummed. The week blurred into a haze of interviews and sound checks, Brooks jetting between Seattle studios and a quick promo hop to Portland, where hipster crowds packed velvet ropes for autographs he signed on autopilot. But his mind snagged on Elias, on that diner booth and the way his laugh rumbled like thunder over the water. Late nights in his loft, guitar in lap, head strum idly, fragments of melody teasing the edges of his numbness. Gone by morning. Trent called daily, voice slick as oil. Brooks, baby, the tracks are fire. But we need new material. Something raw. Dig deep. Brooks would hum agreement, staring at the city lights twinkling like distant fires, wondering if Elias was out there, battling one. The thought warmed him, a secret ember. Saturday arrived with uncharacteristic sun, the kind that coaxed cedarlights from their cocoons. Brooks drove his beat-up Jeep, fame hadn't stripped him of that relic from his ranch days, toward the fire station's picnic grounds in Discovery Park, a sprawl of meadows hugging the sound. He parked among pickups and sedans, feeling out of place in his jeans and flannel, no entourage, just a six-pack of craft IPA as camouflage. The air buzzed with laughter and the sizzle of burgers on grills, kids darting between picnic tables, dogs chasing frisbees, firefighters in off-duty casual, tees stretched over gym-honed frames, tattoos peeking from sleeves. Mingled with families, the scene domestic and unvarnished. Elias spotted him first, waving from a cornhole game, his smile breaking wide. You made it. Here, meet the crew. He slung an arm around Brooks' shoulders, easy as if they were old friends, introducing him to a circle of grins. Marco, the wiry probie with a mustache like a 70s cop. Lena, a veteran with arms like pistons and stories of wildfires in the Cascades. And Jax, Elias's roommate, a bear of a man flipping patties with tongs. Harlan? As in the guy who's got my niece blasting your album on repeat. Jax boomed, shaking Brooks' hand. Elias wouldn't shut up about dragging you here. Elias elbowed him, cheeks tinting. Ignore him. Beers. They cracked cans under a cedar tree, the foam hissing like suppressed secrets. Conversation flowed easy, tales of close calls and dumb luck, the kind of camaraderie forged in flames. Brooks shared a sanitized version of tour life, the endless highways, motel rooms that blurred into one. But when eyes turned to him, expectant, he faltered. What's the worst gig? Marco asked, tossing a beanbag. Brooks sipped, the IPA bitter on his tongue. Nashville, 2 years back. Crowd loved it, but I blacked out on stage. Not drunk, just gone. Like playing for ghosts. Silence rippled. Then Elias leaned in, voice low. Sounds like surviving a structure fire. You get out, but parts of you stay charred. Brooks looked at him, really looked, seeing the lines etched around those hazel eyes, the quiet strength in his slouch. Yeah, exactly like that. The afternoon unfolded lazy, sun dappling the grass. They played volleyball, Brooks spiking a ball that sent Lena diving, her curse wordless but eloquent. Elias was everywhere. Fetching water for overheated kids, arm-wrestling Jax at a table that groaned under the strain. Watching him, Brooks felt that pull deepen, a current under the surface, tugging him toward something vital. As dusk painted the sky violet, bonfire sparks dancing like fireflies, Elias found him by the water's edge, skipping stones into the sound. Hiding, breathing, Brooks handed him a smooth rock. You're good at this, making strangers feel like they belong. Elias skipped it clean, for bounces. Not strangers, and it's the job. Pull people from the dark, give 'em light. He turned, close now, the firelight carving shadows on his face. You pulled me from a shit week, truth be told. Lost a guy last shift. Roof collapse. You showing up. It's a reminder. Life's not just ash. Brooks' throat tightened, words failing. Instead, he stepped closer, their shoulders brushing. The air hummed with unspoken things, the waves lapping a rhythm that matched his pulse. Elias didn't pull away. His hand found Brooks' wrist, thumb tracing the vein there, a touch that sent sparks skittering up his arm. You feel that? Elias murmured, eyes locking, gold flecks catching the flames. Brooks nodded, breath-catching. Yeah. God, yeah. The kiss happened slow, deliberate, like uncoiling a hose under pressure. Elias's lips were soft, tasting of smoke and salt. His free hand cupping Brooks' jaw, tilting just so. It wasn't fireworks, but a steady burn, melting the ice in Brooks' chest. He leaned in, hands fisting Elias's shirt, pulling him closer, the world narrowing to the heat of him, the solid wall of his chest. When they broke, foreheads touching, Elias chuckled softly. Worth the wait. Brooks laughed too, real and ragged, the sound foreign in his throat. Didn't know I was waiting. They rejoined the group eventually, hands brushing when no one looked, secrets shared in glances. As stars pricked the sky, Brooks drove home with windows down, wind whipping his hair, a melody uncoiling in his mind, raw, aching, alive. That night, in his loft, he picked up the guitar. Notes poured out, not perfect, but pulsing with the memory of Elias's mouth, the taste of possibility. Trent texted at midnight, "New demo?" Brooks ignored it, fingers flying over strings until dawn, crafting a song about embers in the rain. Days turned to weeks, their rhythm syncing like a well-oiled engine. Elias's shifts were brutal, 24 on, 48 off, but he texted between calls. Saved a cat from a tree. Hero status achieved. Brooks replied with snippets of lyrics, vulnerable lines he'd never shared. They met in stolen hours. A hike in the Olympics, where mist clung to ferns and Elias kissed him against a mossy trunk, hands roaming with the freedom of wild spaces. Coffee runs turning into all-nighters at a 24-hour diner, debating Springsteen versus Nirvana over pie. One evening, post-shift, Elias showed up at the loft unannounced, still in bunker pants, helmet tucked under arm. "Rough one. Arson in Belltown. Needed to see you." Brooks pulled him inside, the door clicking shut like a vow. They tumbled to the couch, kisses urgent now, Elias's calloused hands mapping Brooks' skin under his shirt, tracing scars from old falls and forgotten fights. "You're beautiful," Elias whispered, voice rough, as if the words cost him. Brooks arched into it, feeling every inch, the numbness cracking like thin ice. They made love slow, exploratory, Elias's body a landscape of strength and softness. Freckles dusting his shoulders, a tattoo of a phoenix curling over his ribs, inked after that lost comrade. Brooks traced it with lips and tongue, tasting salt and survival. In the afterglow, tangled in sheets, Elias propped on elbow, watching him. "What's this? Us?" Brooks hesitated, the old fear whispering. "Does it need a name?" "Not yet." Elias kissed his temple. "But I'm all in." The words settled deep, an anchor in turbulent waters. For the first time, Brooks slept without the hum of emptiness, dreams woven with firelight and hazel eyes. But fame was a jealous lover. Trent scheduled a cross-country tour, starting in 2 weeks. New York, Chicago, Austin. "This is your comeback, Brooks. Don't fuck it," he told Elias over takeout pho in the loft, steam curling between them. Elias nodded, chopsticks pausing. "Go. Mocking few each. Just come back." "I will." Brooks squeezed his hand, but doubt flickered. Could he leave this, the first real feeling in years? As the tour loomed, Brooks poured everything into rehearsals, songs blooming with Elias's echo, lyrics of rescue, of lips that breathed life into lungs long still. The night before departure, they lay on the loft floor, city skyline sprawling below, Elias's head on his chest. "Promise me," Elias said softly, "you'll call every city, every one." Brooks kissed his hair, inhaling the scent of soap and smoke. But as Elias slept, Brooks stared at the ceiling, wondering if the road would claim him again, or if this time, head fight to feel. New York hit like a freight train, the city's pulse slamming against Brooks' nerves from the moment his plane touched down at JFK. Skyscrapers clawed the sky, horns blared in perpetual gridlock, and the air hummed with ambition sharp as broken glass. He checked into the Bowery Hotel, a chic haunt with exposed beams and minibars stocked for rock stars. But it felt like a cage, all mirrors reflecting a man he barely recognized. The first show at Webster Hall was electric. 5,000 fans packed tight, singing his words back like gospel. On stage, sweat slick under strobes, Brooks channeled Elias. The steady burn of his touch, the way his laugh cut through chaos. The crowd felt it, roaring approval, but off stage, in the green room haze of champagne and sycophants, the high faded fast. He called Elias at 2 a.m., voice hoarse from encores. "Miss you," he said, collapsing onto the sweet bed, phone pressed to ear like a lifeline. Elias's voice crackled warm through the line, background hum of his TV. "Miss you more. How'd it go?" "Like fire, but cold without you." They talked until dawn his time, Elias describing a quiet shift, Scout chasing squirrels in the yard. It anchored him, that voice, pulling him back from the edge. Chicago followed, winds whipping off Lake Michigan like vengeful spirits. The Aragon Ballroom echoed with his set, ghosts of Sinatra mingling with millennials in ironic tease. Trent hovered closer now, eyes hungry. "These new songs? They're hitting different. Who's the muse?" Brooks deflected with a grin. "Trade secret." But alone in his room at the Viceroy, head scroll Elias's texts. Photos of sunsets over the Sound, a goofy selfie with foam on his lip from a latte, feeling the distance like a bruise. Austin bloomed warmer, South by Southwest chaos turning the city into a neon fever. Daytime panels droned on monetizing art. Nights dissolved in bars where fiddles wailed and bourbon flowed. Brooks guested on a local set, trading riffs with a bearded troubadour named Riley, whose drawl wrapped around stories of lost loves and dusty roads. Off mic, Riley leaned in, breath hot with whiskey. "You got that haunted look, Harlan. Where's your heart at?" "Seattle," Brooks admitted, the name a talisman. They parted with a clap on the back, but the encounter stirred old ghosts, Trent's betrayal, the way closeness always curdled. He flew back mid-tour for a breather, landing in Seattle under steel-gray skies. Elias met him at the gate, cap low, pulling him into a hug that smelled of pine and home. 2 weeks felt like 50. In the Jeep, hands linked over the console, they drove straight to Elias's Queen and house, a craftsman cottage with creaky floors and a yard overgrown with rhododendrons. Scout bounded out, tail a blur, and Brooks dropped to knees, letting the mutt lick his face, laughter bubbling free. Inside, it was lived in chaos. Stacks of firefighting manuals, a worn couch facing a brick fireplace, photos pinned to the fridge. Elias with his crew, grinning amid rubble. A faded shot of him as a teen, arm around a brother who'd shipped out to Afghanistan. They cooked spaghetti, sauce simmering as Elias recounted a kitchen fire call. Flames from a forgotten wok. Brooks listened, chopping garlic, feeling domestic, real. After fire crackling, wine loosening tongues, they curled on the rug. Elias traced Brooks' jaw, eyes soft. "Tour stories. Blurs of lights and lies. But you're in every song now." He played a rough cut on his phone, voice raw over acoustic. "You pulled me from the smoke, lips like oxygen, breathing me back to bone." Elias stilled, then kissed him fierce, hands urgent. They moved to the bedroom, slow unraveling. Elias's shirt peeled away, revealing the phoenix in full glory, wings spanning his back. Brooks mapped it with mouth and fingers, eliciting gasps that echoed his own rising need. Elias was patient, reverent, drawing out pleasure until Brooks shattered. Name a prayer on his lips. Morning brought pancakes and plans, but Trent called, voice-edged. "Break over. Nashville next. Big collab with that kid, Jasper. You remember him?" Brooks froze, fork midway. Jasper. The younger songwriter Trent had left him for. All wide eyes and honeyed hooks. "Yeah, I remember." Elias caught the shift, brow furrowing over coffee. "Everything good? Just ghosts." Brooks forced a smile, but the warmth curdled. Nashville welcomed him with humid embrace, honky-tonks pulsing on Broadway. The Bluebird Cafe session with Jasper was intimate, circle of chairs in a room that birthed legends. Jasper was polished now, hair artfully tousled, voice like velvet over steel. Brooks, Manitoba, your stuff's inspired me. That new track? Fire. They jammed, harmonies weaving tight, but Brooks felt the undercurrent. Jasper's gaze lingering, Trent watching from the booth with that old gleam. Dinner after, at a rooftop spot overlooking the Cumberland. Trent pitched it casual. U2 vibe. Joint EP? Trent Harlan presents. Brooks sipped bourbon, the burn familiar. Maybe. But inside, the numbness clawed back, betrayal's echo. Late call to Elias. Nashville's got teeth. Bite back, Elias said steady. Or come home. He did, briefly, for a weekend of normalcy. Farmer's market in Fremont, where they haggled over heirloom tomatoes. A ferry ride to Bainbridge, wind tangling their hair as they kissed on the deck, salt spray mingling with laughter. Elias opened up more, vulnerabilities slipping free. The fear on every call, the what-ifs that haunted sleep. Losing his dad young, the department as surrogate family. Brooks shared too. The ranch in Montana where coyotes howled under stars. His mom's fiddle lessons by lamplight. The day he came out to blank stares and quiet acceptance. Music saved me. Then it almost killed me. Elias held him close that night, bodies entwined, whispers weaving dreams. It brought you to me. Tour resumed. Denver's crisp air, sold-out Fillmore with fans chanting lyrics born of hazel eyes. But Nashville lingered, a splinter. Jasper texted, great session. Let's talk more. Innocent, maybe, but Brooks saw shadows. In L.A., the Viper Room gig peaked emotional. Brooks dedicating a song to the one who reignited me. Voice cracking on the bridge. Crowd odd. But Trent cornered him post-set. Who's this mystery? Fuel for the brand. Private, Brooks snapped. First real edgehead shown in years. Trent's eyes narrowed. Don't let it derail you. We built this. The we stung, dredging the hotel room memory. That night, alone in a Sunset Strip suite, Brooks drank too much, numbness swelling like a tide. He didn't call Elias, let the phone die, woke to regret and a flight to Seattle. Elias was at the station mid-drill. Brooks waited in the bay, surrounded by gleaming engines, the scent of oil and rubber. When Elias emerged, soot-streaked from a training burn, his face lit with surprise, then concern. Early. Needed you. Brooks pulled him into the shadows, kiss desperate, hands clutching like Elias might vanish. They drove to the loft, urgency bleeding into tenderness. Clothes shed in the elevator. They collided on the bed. Elias's strength a counter to Brooks' chaos. Thrusts deep, gasps shared, release a catharsis. After Elias stroked his hair. Talk. Brooks did. Spilling the tour's toll, Jasper's ghost, Trent's grip. I feel it all now. With you. But it's terrifying. Elias kissed his knuckles. Feel it. They'll catch you. Renewed. Brooks prepped for the tour's crescendo. A homecoming show at the Showbox. Rehearsals hummed. Band tight. Set list laced with Elias anthems. The night arrived. Marquee blazing his name. Fans queuing in the drizzle. Backstage, Elias waited, fresh from shift, in a button-down that hugged his frame. Break a leg. Brooks grinned, nerves alight. Stay for the encore. The curtain rose, lights blinding, and Brooks poured out. Songs of loss and found, voice soaring over bass and drums. Midway, a ballad, slow and stripped. In your arms, the flames don't scare me anymore. Crowd hushed, then erupted. Off stage, Elias enveloped him, sweat and triumph. You were magic. They slipped out to a rooftop bar. City sprawled below, toasting with whiskeys. But as stars wheeled, Brooks' phone buzzed. Trent. Jasper deal on table. Signed tonight. The night air chilled. Go, Elias urged. Your call. Brooks went, alone, to the studio downtown. Trent waited with contracts. Jasper at his side. Smile too bright. Family reunion. The pen hovered, heart pounding. Betrayal stared back. Trent's hand on Jasper's shoulder, echo of that Nashville dawn. Brooks signed, ink black as regret, but inside, resolve hardened. This was business. Elias was life. Back at the loft, Elias waited, eyes questioning. Did it? Yeah. Brooks pulled him close. But you're the only deal that matters. They made love with a new fierceness, bodies claiming what words couldn't. As sleep claimed them, Brooks whispered into darkness, I love you. Elias stirred, mumbling back, love you too. The words sealed it, a vow amid the storm brewing unseen. The tour wrapped in a blaze of confetti and contracts, Brooks returning to Seattle a conqueror on paper. Sold-out arenas, viral clips of his dedications trending on TikTok, whispers of Grammy nods from insiders. Trent crowed over brunch at Canlis, overlooking the glittering sound, plates of seared scallops untouched. EP with Jasper drops next month. You two are the new power duo. Brooks nodded, fork tracing patterns in foam, Elias's text burning in his pocket. Station dinner tonight. Bring dessert? Sounds solid. Jasper joined via video from Nashville, pixelated grin wide. Brooks, we're gonna kill it. Studio time in LA next week. Trent jumped in. Booked. And a joint interview. Rolling Stone wants the story. The story twisted in Brooks' gut. Trent's fabrication of mentorship, glossing the affair that gutted him. He agreed, voice steady, but excused himself early. Jeep eating miles to Queen N. Elias's house glowed warm, windows fogged from cooking steam. He opened the door in an apron dusted with flour, kissing Brooks hello with flowery lips. Rough morning. Trent being Trent. Brooks stepped inside, Scout weaving figure eights around his legs. The kitchen overflowed. Lasagna bubbling, garlic bread toasting, crew already assembled around the table. Marco cracking jokes, Lena pouring reds, Jax manning the playlist with Springsteen deep cuts. It was family, unscripted, the kind fame couldn't buy. Brooks sank into it, passing bread, trading barbs about tour mishaps. Elias's foot nudged his under the table, a secret anchor. After, as dishes clattered, Elias pulled him aside in the pantry, shelves of canned goods pressing close. You okay? Brooks kissed him quick, tasting marinara. Better now. The LA trip loomed like a shadow. He flew solo, Elias on a back-to-back shift. The studio in Silver Lake was a sun-drenched bunker, walls lined with gold records, air humming with possibility. Jasper arrived buoyant, acoustic in tow, hugging Brooks like old pals. Missed this energy. Sessions flowed at first, harmonies layering over beats, Jasper's falsetto weaving with Brooks' gravel. Lunch at Roscoe's, chicken and waffles greasy with nostalgia. But evenings unraveled. Jasper suggested drinks at a WeHo bar. For inspiration. Leather booths, pulsing bass. Men in tight shirts eyeing them like prizes. You're glowing, man, Jasper said over gin and tonics, knee brushing Brooks under the table. This new guy? Spill. Brooks tensed, the touch casual but loaded. He's everything. Firefighter. Keeps me grounded. Jasper's eyes softened, hand on arm. Good for you. Trent said you were wrecked after. Us. The us hung, unspoken history. Brooks pulled back. That was then. Nights blurred. Late tracks, Jasper crashing on the couch, Trent crashing meetings with notes that reeked of control. One dawn, hungover in the control booth, Trent cornered him. Jasper's gold, but you're the star. Keep him close. Like before. Bal rose. Before was a mistake. Trent laughed. Low. Mistakes make hits. Remember that ballad you wrote? Platinum because of the pain. Brooks stormed out, calling Elias from LAX tarmac. Rain sheeting the windows. I hate this. Elias's voice cut through static. Then stop. Come home. He did. Landing in Seattle's embrace, Elias waiting with takeout and open arms. They drove to Alki Beach, walking the shore as dusk bled purple over the Olympics. Waves lapped pebbles, gulls crying overhead. Brooks confessed it all. Jasper's flirtations, Trent's manipulations, the temptation to drown in old patterns. Elias stopped, facing him, wind whipping his jacket. You're not that guy anymore. But if it's too much. No. Brooks gripped his hands, cold and real. You're my enough. They kissed there, salt on lips, the sound a witness. Back home, lovemaking was reclamation. Brooks atop, setting the pace, Elias yielding with trust, moans mingling like lyrics. In the quiet after, Elias traced his phoenix tattoo. This for the brother you lost? Brooks nodded, throat tight. Yeah. He pulled me from a barn fire once. Taught me to fight the dark. Elias smiled soft. Like you do for me. The Rolling Stone interview arrived. A glossy affair in a Pioneer Square loft. Photographer circling like a shark. Jasper flew up. The three of them posed on a velvet chaise. Trent orchestrating smiles. Questions probed. The EP's chemistry? Old flames or new sparks? Jasper quipped. Brothers before. Everything. Laughter, but Brooks saw Trent's satisfaction, the narrative spun. Alone after, in a Fremont dive, he told Elias over pool and PBR. It's a lie. All of it. Elias chalked his cue, eyes steady. Then rewrite it. Inspiration struck that week. Brooks holing up in the loft, guitar weeping anthems of truth. He texted Jasper, EP's great, but solo path for me. Trent raged via voicemail. You'll regret this. Jasper's the future. Let him have it. Brooks blocked the number, freedom tasting like rain-washed air. Elias celebrated with a surprise. Tickets to a Mariners game, box seats overlooking the field. Hot dogs and cheers, Elias's arm around him as fireworks burst post-win. To new beginnings. But cracks spidered. A call from Marco. Station prank war, Elias laughing in the background. But his voice later held fatigue. Busy season. Wildfires jumping the line. Brooks nodded into the phone, worry gnawing. Be safe. Always. But the line crackled, distance even in proximity. The EP dropped without fanfare, Brooks's solo single countering it. A strip track called Ember, dedicated in liner notes to the man who lit me up. It charted quiet, but real fans heard the soul. Trent ambushed at a Capitol Hill signing, face thunderous. You tanked us. Jasper's pissed. Good. Brooks signed a poster, handed it back. Find another puppet. Security escorted him out, but the weight lifted. Elias picked him up, grinning. Heard the track on the radio. Cried like a probie. They drove to Mount Trail, hiking to the summit as sun dipped, city a toy below. At the top, breathless, Elias dropped to one knee. Not proposal, but a necklace from his pocket. A silver Firefighter badge pendant. Wear this, for when I'm not there. Brooks fastened it, kissing him with sunset fire. My talisman. Nights deepen their bond. Cooking classes gone wrong. Laughter over scorched stir-fry. Stargazing on the roof. Elias pointing constellations. Brooks composing riffs to their myths. Vulnerability bloomed. Elias admitting panic attacks post-calls. The guilt of survivors. Brooks journaling the numbness's grip. Pages filling with gratitude lists topped by his hazel eyes. One stormy eve. Thunder rattling windows. They lay abed. Elias's head on Brooks' chest. What if the fire takes me? Brooks held tighter. It won't. And if it tries, it'll pull you back. The words were oath, but fate listened poorly. A call shattered the idyll. Wildfire in the Cascades. Engine dispatched. Elias packed in dawn's gloom, kissing Brooks fierce. 2 weeks max love you. Love you. Door closed. Silence echoed. Days stretched. Brooks busking in Pike Place for charity. Fingers flying free. Fans recognized, but he shared stories now, not autographs. Tales of a firefighter's courage. News trickled, blaze contained, but a collapse. Then silence. Brooks paced the loft, phone clutched, heart hammering. Trent's email arrived, olive branch. Sorry. Let's talk collab. Real one. Delete. But doubt crept. Had he burned bridges for nothing? Elias's text finally pinged. Midnight. Minor burn. Heading home tomorrow. Miss you. Relief flooded. Tears hot. Brooks replied, waiting. Reunion was airport chaos. Elias bandaged arm in sling, but grin unbroken. They tumbled home, gentle now, kisses soft, touches healing. Almost lost it, Elias admitted, tracing the scar. Thought of you, pulled through. Brooks kissed the wound. My hero. But in the glow, unseen, Trent schemed. A leaked photo, Brooks and Jasper, cropped intimate from the interview, hit blogs. Harlan's secret flame? Morning coffee soured. Elias scrolled, face paling. This? Fake. Brooks explained, but hurt flickered in hazel eyes. Trust you, but the world's watching. It was the first fracture, hairline but deep. The leak spread like dry tinder, tabloids fanning flames. Brooks Harlan's steamy side piece. EP Muse or more. Paparazzi swarmed his loft, flashes piercing curtains like accusations. Fans divided online, some shipping the bromance, others dissecting lyrics for clues. Brooks fielded calls from publicists, voice steady but soul fraying. Damage control, they urged. Play coy. Elias, back on light duty, scrolled the feeds with quiet intensity. Sling arm draped over couch back. It's bullshit, but it stings. Brooks knelt before him, hands on knees. I know. I'm sorry. Not your fault. Elias pulled him up, kiss forgiving but tentative. Just tired of the circus. The circus peaked at a forced presser for the singles video shoot in Gasworks Park. Rusted silos looming like sentinels over the lake. Cameras clicked as Brooks lip-synced Ember. Rain misting the set, but questions veered. Jasper rumors? Truth or publicity? Music's the truth, he parried. Eyes on the director, not the horde. Post-rap, Elias waited in the Jeep, engine idling. They drove in silence to a hole in the wall in Ballard, fish and chips steaming on newsprint. You handled it, Elias said finally, malt vinegar sharp. But Trent's behind this? Probably. Brooks speared a fry. He's poison. Cut him out. I am. But the resolve wavered. Royalties checks still bore Trent's name, strings attached. Nights turned introspective, Elias's injury sidelining him to puzzles and physical therapy. Brooks composing in bursts. They talked depths. Elias's fear of vulnerability, the department's machismo masking mental scars. Brooks's imposter syndrome, fame a mask over the boy who'd fled Montana for dreams. One evening, storm lashing windows, Elias lit candles, pulling Brooks to dance slow in the living room. Springsteen crooning low, bodies swaying. Remember our first coffee? Elias murmured, chin on shoulder. Felt like fate. Still does. Brooks spun him gentle, mindful of the sling, laughter bubbling as they dipped clumsy. But the photo haunted, a specter. Jasper called, apologetic. Didn't leak it, swear. But Trent pushed the narrative. Figures. Brooks hung up, seething, drafting a termination email to Trent. Effective immediately. No more. Send. Catharsis sharp as ripping a bandage. Trent's response was a barrage. Voicemails venomous, texts threatening lawsuits. You owe me, Harlan. That scar on your heart? I carved it. Brooks blocked, but the words festered, dredging the hotel room, Trent's cold exit, Jasper's shadow in the sheets. He confided in Elias over whiskey by the fire, voice cracking. I was broken. Let him define me. Elias cupped his face, thumbs wiping tears. Not anymore. You're whole. With me. They made love then, urgent and affirming. Elias's good hand pinning wrists, mouth claiming neck, Brooks yielding to the rhythm of trust. Release came shuddering, a purge. Summer swelled, wildfires ebbing, Elias cleared for duty. To celebrate, they road-tripped to the Oregon coast, Jeep loaded with cooler and playlist. Cannon Beach stretched endless, Haystack Rock a sentinel in surf. They camped, tent zipped against chill, bodies entwined under sleeping bags, stars wheeling overhead. Morning hikes through fern-choked trails, hands linked, Elias pointing tide pools teeming with anemones. Life finds a way, he said, watching crabs scuttle. Brooks smiled, pendant glinting. Like us. Evenings by driftwood fires, marshmallows toasting golden, stories unfurling. Elias's first fire, a car wreck in Tacoma rain, pulling a father from wreckage. Brooks's breakthrough gig in a Missoula bar, crowd of 50 feeling like stadiums. But on the drive back, radio crackled a news alert. Major blaze in the Olympics, structures threatened. Elias's phone buzzed, station recall. Shit, have to go. Brooks gripped the wheel tighter. When? Now. At the station, crew milled, gear clanging. Elias hugged him fierce in the bay. Weak, tops. Love you. Love you. Come back. Kiss swallowed by sirens. The weight gnawed. Brooks threw into music, booking a small venue gig at Numos. Intimate, no Trent strings. Rehearsals with his band. Old Montana boys who'd stuck through the numb years, filled the loft with harmony. Trent escalated. Legal papers served at the venue, breach of contract claims. You can't just walk, his lawyer droned. Brooks met him in a coffee shop, calm. Watch me. But the stress coiled, sleep elusive. Elias's texts were sparse. Hot up here. Holding. Photos of scorched earth, his face grimed but grinning. The gig night arrived, crowd buzzing, energy raw. Brooks poured out. Ember mid-set, voice breaking on the bridge, fans swaying like one breath. Offstage high, but phone dead. No signal from Elias. Panic flickered. He called Lena. He's fine. Just deep in. Relief, but the void echoed. Trent crashed the afterparty at a Belltown lounge. Suit rumpled, eyes wild. This self-destruct? For what? A hose dragger. Security loomed, but Brooks faced him, steel in spine. For me. Get out. Trent sneered, voice low. You'll crawl back. Always do. Gone, but poison lingered. Brooks drank too much, stumbled home alone. Elias's absence a hollow. Dawn brought news. Collapse on the line, 2 injured. Heart seized, he drove to the station, parking crooked. Lena met him outside, face drawn. Elias. He's okay. Smoke inhalation, cuts. Hospital. Relief crashed with fear. At Swedish, Elias lay pale in bed. Oxygen mask fogging. For dripping. Awake, he squeezed Brooks' hand. Knew you'd come. Tears fell. Scared me. Sorry. Weak grin. Pulled a rookie out. Worth it. Days blurred. Hospital vigils. Brooks reading fan mail aloud. Strumming soft on unplugged guitar. Elias mended slow, ribs bruised, lungs raw. Discharge brought him home, couch-bound, scout guarding. Nursing deepened intimacy. Brooks fetching broth, massaging calves, their touches lingering. One night, pain meds dulling edges, Elias confessed. Almost didn't make it. Roof went. Thought of you. Your laugh, that kiss on the beach. Brooks climbed beside him, careful. I'm here. Whispers turned kisses, soft explorations. Fingers tracing bandages, lips soothing aches. Not passion, but healing, bodies reaffirming life. Trent's final blow landed via email. Leaked demo, old track from the Betrayal era, twisted as Harlan's heartbreak confession, Jasper inspired? Blogs exploded. Was it love or leverage? Elias read it in bed, face unreadable. Truth. Brooks knelt, raw. Yes, but it's past. You're present. Silence stretched, then Elias nodded. Believe you, but need space. To breathe. The words gutted. Okay. Brooks left, loft echoing empty. He wrote feverishly, a new song, Ashes. Of Betrayal's Forge, Love's Temper. Gig at the Tractor, small but sold. He dedicated Ashes to the fighter who saved me. From myself. Crowd hushed, felt the ache. Back home, Elias waited on the porch, sling gone, eyes clear. Heard it. We're good. Brooks pulled him up, kiss ceiling. Better. But the fire of doubt smoldered, waiting for wind. Autumn crisped Seattle's edges, leaves turning the parks to flame. But inside Brooks, winter loomed. Elias returned to full duty, shifts pulling him into the rhythm of bells and bunkers, their time fractured into off-hours mosaics. Dinners at midnight, walks at dawn, each goodbye laced with the unspoken fear that one call could end it. The leaked demo festered, Trent dodging subpoenas while blogs dissected Brooks's catalog for Jasper codes. Fans rallied, petitions for a tell-all, but Brooks retreated, focusing on a stripped EP, Ignite, for tracks born of Elias's light. Studio sessions in a Fremont basement, walls papered with set lists, air thick with amp hum and takeout boxes. Elias guested one night, post-shift, helmet hair wild. Play me something. Brooks did, raw demo of Phoenix Rise. Voice gravel over finger-picked strings. You wore the flames like a second skin, pulled me from the wreck I called home. Elias listened, eyes closed, then pulled him across the console for a kiss tasting of adrenaline. That's us, he murmured. Recording wrapped, release slated for winter solstice. Symbolic, rebirth in dark. Promo meant travel. Radio hits in Portland. A Seattle Times profile in a cafe overlooking the market. The writer, a sharp-eyed woman named Greer, probed gentle. The firefighter in your lyrics real? Brooks smiled, coffee steaming. Very. She nodded, pen pausing. Trent's suing, you know. Defamation. Let him. But the suit loomed. Lawyers billing hours, stress etching lines around his eyes. Elias noticed over pie at a diner. You're carrying it alone. Protecting you. Brooks traced the scar on Elias's brow. From the glare, Elias covered his hand. We're in it together. Winter bit early. First snow dusting the sound. They escaped to Montana, Brooks's ranch roots calling. A cabin on the property, now his aunt's stewardship. Fields blanketed white, horses stamping breath clouds. Elias marveled. City boy in thermals. Building snow forts with Brooks's cousin's kids. Nights by the hearth, whiskey warming veins, they shared origins. Elias's Tacoma upbringing, mill whistles marking days, his queerness a quiet rebellion in high school locker rooms. Brooks's ranch isolation, first crush on a rodeo hand, music a bridge to acceptance. One blizzard-bound eve, power out, candles guttering, Elias knelt by the rug. Marry me, ring simple, silver band etched with flames. Tears pricked. Yes. Kiss sealed, fierce, tumbling to furs, bodies urgent, snow muffling moans, love ablaze against cold. Back in Seattle, planning whispered. Small ceremony, station crew as family, Montana stars for honeymoon. But joy cracked under pressure. Trent's deposition loomed, a downtown office sterile as a morgue. Brooks testified clipped. Affair, betrayal, the EP's genesis in pain. Trent's turn. He was unstable. I saved his career. Lies, but the judge adjourned, wheels turning slow. Elias supported silent, but shifts intensified, arson spikes, overtime mandatory. Texts grew curt. Late again. Sorry. Brooks busied with EP launch. Listening party at the Crocodile, intimate crowd of diehards. He performed acoustic, Elias in front row, hazel eyes proud. After toasts and hugs, but Elias pulled back early. Call tomorrow? Shift change. Distance yawned. The proposal ring weighed heavy, a promise amid fray. Brooks wrote Vow. A ballad of forever, but doubt crept. Was he enough? Fame's baggage a chain? Crisis-crested New Year's. Elias on a multi-alarm in Pioneer Square. Warehouse inferno. Holiday revelers trapped. Brooks watched news from the loft. Chopper feeds showing flames devouring night. Phone rang. Lena. He's inside. It's bad. Hospital wait was purgatory. Corridors echoing beeps. Elias emerged scorched but standing. Oxygen tank in tow. Face ashen. Got him out. All. Relief shattered into rage. You could've. I know. Elias sagged into bed. But I didn't. Convalescence bound them tight. Brooks cooking bland meals. Reading aloud from a dog-eared Hemingway. Vulnerability peaked one night. Elias coughing through confession. Scared shitless. Every time. But you. You make it bearable. Brooks held him, tears soaking pillow. Then quit. For us. Elias stiffened. This is me. Can't. The rift widened, words unspoken. EP dropped to acclaim. Ignite hailed as soul reborn. But sails dipped under scandal shadow. Trent's suit dragged, countersuits flying. A February gale brought the storm. Elias, cleared too soon, responded to a high-rise blaze in Belltown. Radio silence stretched hours. Then, collapse. Elias trapped under beam. Brooks raced to the scene, barriers holding him back, flames roaring. Crew worked frantic, axes ringing. Lena pulled him aside. He's alive. Talking. Extraction dragged eternal. Elias stretchered out, leg shattered, smoke blackened. ER lights harsh, surgeons swarming. Critical, they said. Infection risk. Vigil in ICU, machines beeping life. Brooks clutched the ring box, whispering vows unfinished. Family arrived. Elias's mom, steel-haired widow, hugging silent. Brooks's aunt via video, prayers from Montana. Dawn broke. Elias stirred, groggy. Hey, cowboy. Relief sobbed out. Don't ever. Sorry. Weak squeeze. Love you. Recovery was war. Surgeries? PT grueling. Elias's firehouse visits morale boosts but resentment simmering. Desk duty sucks. He'd gripe, crutches clacking. Brooks balanced. EP tour mini-dates. Acoustic sets in clubs. Returning to bedside tales. But fatigue frayed edges. Missed meds. Snapped words. Climax shattered in spring rain. Trent cornered Elias at rehab. Outside the clinic, umbrella dripping venom. Tell him to settle, or I bury you both. Elias, crutch-propped, shoved back. Fuck off. Trent laughed. He'll choose fame. Always does. Home. Elias confronted, voice thunder. Why didn't you tell me he threatened? Protecting, Brooks started. Us? Or you? Elias's eyes, once warm, iced. I'm collateral now. Fight erupted. Accusations flying, Brooks's secrecy, Elias's denial of risk. You proposed knowing this life. And you said yes knowing yours. Words cut deep. Maybe Trent's right. I'm poison. Elias recoiled. Then go. Door slammed. Brooks fled to the loft. Rain lashing. Alone, he smashed the guitar, his first Montana relic, strings snapping like heartstrings. Sobbing, he called Jasper. Voice broken. Help! Jasper arrived, dawn, arms open. I've got you. Comfort turned treacherous. Whiskey, confessions, Jasper's kiss landing soft. Brooks recoiled, but guilt-rooted. Betrayal, self-inflicted. Morning horror. Elias's key and lock, face crumpling at the scene. Jasper shirtless, bed rumpled. You! No, wait! Brooks lunged. Elias turned, shattered. We're done. Gone, crutches echoing down hall. Brooks chased, but the elevator closed on hazel eyes gone gray. Crisis peaked. EP awards buzz, but Brooks canceled shows. Holing up, bottle his companion. Fans worried, posts pleading. Trent gloated via mail. See? Back to basics. Rock bottom came midnight, balcony edge, city abyss below. Ring clutched, Elias's voice echoed. Love you. But numbness roared back, fuller, devouring. He called the hotline, voice whisper. I can't feel anymore. Therapy restarted, couch confessions peeling layers. Weeks blurred. Group for creatives, walks with Scout. Elias had left him, note, he needs you more. Ranch return, Montana air healing lungs. Letters to Elias, unsent. I broke us. Forgive. Healing crept, slow as dawn. New songs birthed, not of fire, but ashes quiet strength. Gig in Missoula, small stage, crowd kin. Mid-set, dedication. To the man who saved me, twice. Offstage, phone buzzed. Elias. Heard it. Can we talk? Heart stuttered. Cafe in Tacoma, neutral ground. Elias. Cane leaning. Eyes wary but soft. Missed Scout. Missed you. Brooks slid the ring across table. No pressure. Elias pocketed it. Start slow. Slow they did. Coffee dates, trail walks, rebuilding brick by brick. Trust tentative, but growing, Elias opening to counseling. Brooks severing Trent final. Lawsuit dropped for truth's weight. Summer solstice. Full circle. Beach bonfire. Waves sighing. Elias knelt again, ring gleaming. Second chance. Yes. Kiss under moon, fireflies witnesses. But the journey scarred, wisdom hard won. Fame dimmed. Brooks went indie, tours local, life prioritized. The wedding was understated. A nod to roots and rescues. Backyard of the Queen and house. Late summer sun gilding the rhododendrons. Strings of Edison bulbs swaying gentle in the breeze. Guests sparse but heartfelt. Elias's crew in polos, Jack's grill smoking ribs. Brooks's bandmates from Montana, fiddles tuning soft. Lena officiating in slacks and badge, voice steady as she bound their hands with a firefighter's rope. Vows exchanged raw. Elias, cane aside, eyes locked. You pulled me from more than fires. You gave me a life worth the risk. Brooks, pendant twin to Elias's around his neck. Throat tight. You kissed feeling back into me. I'll fight every shadow for us. Rings slid on. Simple bands now engraved ember eternal. Kiss sealed amid cheers. Scout barking joy. Pie instead of cake. Cherry from a Pike Place stand. Tart and true. Honeymoon whispered. Olympic Peninsula cabin. No signals. Just salt air and shared silences. Mornings hiking moss trails. Afternoons tangled in hammocks. Evenings fireside with guitars. Elias drumming fingers on knee. Brooks singing originals born of them. Back home, rhythms realigned. Elias eased to admin, training probies. Fires pull tempered by home's gravity. Brooks's label indie. Ashes to Ember EP charting quiet but deep. Lyrics therapy scarred. Fans connecting visceral. Challenges lingered. Trent's shadow faded to nuisance. Countersuit won. But paparazzi flares tested. One gala, red carpet glare, Elias stiff in tux. Hate this. Brooks squeezed hand. One night, then us. Inside, toasts to the power couple. But they slipped out early, diner pie waiting. Deeper waters. Elias's nightmares, waking sweat slick. Brooks soothing with stories. Brooks's stage fright echoes. Elias in wings, thumb up. Anniversaries marked small. First, beach picnic. Waves lapping vows renewed. Second, station barbecue. Brooks grilling. Crew toasting the chief's better half. Family grew. Elias's mom visiting. Approving nods over tea. Brooks's aunt hosting holidays. Montana feasts with fiddle jams. Crisis revisited in flickers. A close call for Marco. Elias pacing nights. Brooks anchoring. We're fireproof. They mentored. Brooks guesting music therapy for burn survivors. Elias co-leading queer youth groups. Sharing scars. One winter. EP re-release with bonus track. Back to life. Duet. Elias's baritone rough. Harmony healing. Video simple. Them walking Seattle rains. Hands linked. Ending in embrace under street lamp. Fame evolved. Podcasts over press. Authenticity magnet. Fans wrote. Your story saved mine. Aging graceful. Elias's hair silvering at temples. Brooks's lines laugh-etched. Ranch visits annual, horses ridden side saddle. Stars under which dreams first sparked. Legacy whispered. Foundation for artist first responders. Scholarships blending worlds. Old, porch rockers creaking. Scout successor at feet. They'd reminisce. Worth the burn. Elias ask hand in Brooks's. Every flame. Kiss soft, enduring. Life's arc bent toward light. Proof that from numbness, love forges unbreakable glow.